Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today on the show, I have John Setzer. They are a two-spirit artist who's located here in Seattle, Washington. John, I was able to meet them for an art gallery exhibition that I had back in, I believe it was August. I could be wrong, August or September. And it was one of the first
We,
ones that I had at the gallery.
yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the
I
times
think we met
are
in
running
May.
together, and at May, yes, we met in May for the first time. Yes,
Yeah,
at the oh my gosh, I know
the
my
Greenwood
brain's
Art
not going this
Collective.
bad. Yes, yeah, at the collective, which was awesome. You're curating a show there for was it a sugar? No,
Sugar Wall.
Sugar Wall. Okay, yes, this makes me sound like I don't remember.
A
I'm
lot
so
has
sorry,
happened.
but it was at Sugar Wall.
Hmm.
A lot's happened at the time that this is being recorded. A lot's going on in the news. We are doing our best to be creative. But yeah, it was at Sugar Wall. You're creating a show. And then
Hmm.
later you're in one of my shows, which I believe we're looking at. All of it's looking at storytelling. I think this might have been our queer futurism
Yeah,
exhibition. And
yeah.
it was really cool because I think this might have been the second or third show I had hung. And you came by to help me hang it, and it was just like, boom, this is this. And you like taught me some of the tricks of the trade, things that I still used until it was time to close. Actually, I used to hang this.
Hmm.
And so that was really cool just to have you like pour in and share that knowledge as a curator with me. And I'm really happy to have you
Happy to
as a
do it.
guest. Yeah, no, thank you so much. Like it was that saying like when the student is ready, the master will appear. And you definitely
Yeah.
appeared and was like and helped me. I was like, okay, cool. Like even just like being more creative in how I hang things. Yeah, this
Hmm.
was the second show because I remember looking back on my first show and I was like, it was such a grid, whereas this one's like the one
Hmm.
you helped me hang was a lot more exciting and played a lot more. But I want to start off by saying thank you for that. And in
Yeah,
this
of
episode,
course.
I want to talk to you a little bit more about your curation and your practice as an artist. And then the
Hmm.
other underlying thing that I want to talk about, especially again, kind of given what's happened in the news as of late, is bringing the politics and the creative how you tell the story into things. But before we kick that off, I want to ask you the question that I ask all the artists when we start off is if you had to describe your or where you're at as an artist right now, ideally in one word, what would that be?
I did actually give some thought to this earlier today. I'm really focused on threshold right now because
Okay.
I'm really obsessed with these like doorway shapes that I've been making. I'm like personally I feel like I'm on a precipice between where I started to be really focused on my art practice and where I think that I want to go, and like the difference between my work and the work of artists that are in bigger galleries. So yeah, I'm on precipice, threshold, kind of about to walk through the door.
I like that. And I think and for what my memory has been this episode so far, I think one of your paintings were about like a threshold or a doorway that we had hung, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. Um,
Oh,
Gosh, I remember the imagery of it because you had a couple of, like landscape paintings. It was like woodblock, and I wish I had the image with me on hand. But it did focus on pathways and thresholds as well,
mm-hmm,
from what I'm
mm-hmm.
recalling. So it's
Yeah.
cool to see that theme pop up again. Yeah. And so tell me a little bit more about what those thresholds look like for you right now as an artist.
Um, so like the literal shape is just kind of like this sort of like half of a crescent sort of shape that I've just like I really like to draw it. And I was just doing that over and over again. I was like, okay, I need to figure out what this shape is. I just like I've been thinking about where I am in my work, where I am in my life, and it ended up being okay. This is a way to move through something, like either a thought that I'm thinking about or having or struggling with, or just like moving from one place to another, and also having, oh, I don't want to say lack of clarity because that could be misconstrued, but just like a form of ambiguity that allows me to go, hey, here's a door. I know what's on the other side of it for me. I don't know what's on the other side of it for you because I don't see what you see. I'm not in your head. But I can go,
Yeah.
there's a path right here. There's a doorway here. There's a threshold, there's a portal that you can go through if you want. And I've been through it. and I know I know, like, I know it was there, and I know how to get back. And so my paintings are taking sort of a pathway through these sorts of doorway portally things, I guess is how I would describe what I've been doing the last few weeks.
Yeah. No, I love it. And I think what a good message for what's going on right now. Like everyone's no, I don't want to go into that too far. I'm going to just speak of it generally. Everyone's going through a lot right now.
Yeah.
And like people can see and imagine how things are going to play out for them, but really it comes down
Hmm.
to, what's that journey going to look like for that individual person? What are the decisions they're going to make? How are they going to, I guess this is me just kind of like me, how am I going to practice self-care and advocacy at the same time? And then what does it look
Yes.
like to be there in community and like go on that journey with other people,
Hmm.
knowing that we might have different destinations? Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it without getting too much in,
Yeah.
and giving the
That's
listeners
a
too
good way
much.
to put
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So I feel like this kind of you touched on it. How do you find inspiration for this? Or yeah, yeah. How do you find the inspiration behind your paintings, especially this series that you're working on?
Um, well, I have a number of, like, sort of like art journals that I work in, that they just, I put stuff in them, or like I'll open it to a page and spill a bunch of paint on that page and let it dry and just move on, and then eventually come back to that page and look for the patterns that I want to investigate. So, like, a lot
Okay,
of what led up to what I've been working on right now has been going back and seeing that half crescent shape and seeing how it's just like landscapes just sort of form around the things that I'm interested in.
yeah,
I've had people call it like dreamlike, and I think that's really appropriate because I'm I always feel like I'm kind of like halfway between two worlds in a lot of different ways, like just personally, like, then being non-binary is like halfway between two worlds, or halfway between a gajillion worlds, really. And being mixed, I'm a member of the Cherokee community of Puget Sound, but also, like, I have the white side of my family, so I'm a little mixed. And so there's like a difference between the different ways that I'm viewed and the different ways that I experience the world. And I'm also disabled, but I don't look disabled, right? So
yeah,
there's a like sort of a midpoint between the abledness and the disabledness, and the way that that's perceived and the way that I'm treated because of that too. So
yeah. So you're standing like in the center of a lot, like kind of a nexus point, and it is definitely going through like those thresholds of and having access to a lot of different narratives to help people relate or understand or see things differently.
I hope
That's
so.
huge. It's also yeah, yeah, and then I'm trying not to put this on people, but like it is kind of a responsibility like as an artist because then it's like, hey, how am I telling these stories? How am I advocating for these different identities? Not that you have
Yeah,
to, because I'm trying to do this thing where like artists don't have to do that,
right.
but
But I want
but
to.
you are. And I only say that
Yeah.
because I've noticed like when it comes to like BIPOC artists, it's always like, so what do you think about your culture? How are you advocating? And it's like, I just want to make something nice real quick. I don't want it all to be soul work or like,
Yeah.
So I wanted to
I think
ask,
Cherokee's I think Cherokee's there is a lot of, like, no, man, having a good time being alive is the point. Like, we're not supposed to hurt each other. We're not supposed to mess up the world. We're supposed to take care of each other, and we're supposed to have fun and tell jokes. And there's a lot of medicine in not taking yourself too seriously all the time.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just taking time to enjoy the creation, like what's being created and the process and what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind, could you tell me a little bit more about that? Like, what does that look like in your daily, if that apply? Like, yeah, just to,
Yeah. So I guess best place to start with that is my little motto for this year is I will succeed because I am insane. Like, I'm not trying to take myself too
I love it.
seriously, because, like, if I do, like, I don't want to climb up my own butt. I don't want to take myself too seriously, but I do realize that I have serious things to say and serious things to create, but also starting from a starting point of I am doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting different results, therefore won't go, right?
Yeah.
So I start from a place of I'm very serious about the path that I'm on, but I'm not so serious about it that if I trip and get mud all over myself, I'm gonna be angry about it. Like that's I've been in that place in my life before. I do not want to be there again. I don't want to
Yeah.
take myself for anything too seriously because life is insane and everybody's running around being crazy. Affectionate connotation, not diminutive crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's a mess, and I embrace the messiness of who I am and how that shows up in my work.
I love it. I love it. Which is also, it's kind of funny that you say you embrace the mess, and yet I think the second time I met you, it was looking at the crispness of your paintings and then getting the exactness of hanging artwork and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, but it's the mess of the creative process.
Well, mess
So I want
doesn't
to ask,
doesn't look the
oh,
same to
okay,
everybody.
say more. I like that. Yes.
Uh,
No, no, that's awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, I think well, it's like an ADHD thing, right? Like I have all
yeah.
of these things kind of scattered around in front of me because I use them every day, and I don't like my brain's like there's no point in having like this is the place where this lives on my desk, but my desk looks like an absolute mess if you're the kind of person that likes a clean desk, right? So it's but it makes sense to me because my pen that I use for
Yeah.
everything is right here, right next to my hand. So
What has your experience been as a curator, and what are some takeaways that you have for artists that are looking to become curators?
probably the best way to become a curator is to just so the question of how do I start doing this is always like the worst question to ask me because my thing is just like just do it. Who cares? Just do it. Um
Nice.
the yeah, I would say like the ways that I kind of got into curating was I was part of a collective and we had shows and talked to each other a little bit, not as much. Not as, it wasn't as cooperative as some of the other spaces I've been in since. But yeah, you say if you have a space in mind to get started, pitch to them, hey, I want to do this, and they'll either say yes or they'll say no, and if they say no, then move on to the next place, right? Personally, have my I've had some bad experiences curating where the people that I was working with expected me to do all of the work. And so I think one of the things that I would tell people who are wanting to get started with curating is if it's your idea, expect to do most of the work or to have like specific enough idea that you can ask people to do the things that you want. Like if you've got people that you're working with and you're not as comfortable with the tech side of it, be like, hey, if I send you the list of everything, can you do like the mail merge to do the tags for it? Or can you do this or that thing? Like have a clear idea of what you want the show to look like both in person and online. And never be afraid to tell the other people that you're working with, hey, this needs to be done and I don't know how to do it. Will you do it? And most of the time they'll say yeah, and if they don't, they'll you just be like, hey, can we brainstorm a way to make this happen? And I'm like, I'm not a technical person. I don't no offense to the equipment that we're on like using to do this, but like I not a big fan of computers. So, like, the tech side of everything has always been the most challenging for me. And so, yeah, do your best, ask for help. Like, if you have an idea, then talk to people about your ideas and don't be afraid of galleries or people saying no to the thing you want to do because eventually somebody's going to say yes and it's going to work out or it won't and you'll do something else and have more fun with that anyway.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, I feel like everyone focuses on Seattle. Seattle's a big city, don't get me wrong, and so there's a lot of opportunities to curate. But it's also not just Seattle. Like you
Yeah,
have all of King County, you have all of these counties, and Washington is just an artsy place. Like
we
you can
are
go to
very
the most
artsy
remote
here.
place, and you're gonna find some art.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, only because I've been chewed out by some retirement home attendees, because I've been speaking at retirement homes. People in Washington do like their nature
It's
versus
true.
anything else.
Yeah.
They want their nature, they want their animals, they want their mountains.
Hmm.
But outside of that, you'll find art just about anywhere.
Oh yeah. I feel like art is everywhere. Like if your work is going to get somebody to go into a coffee shop, the coffee shop will put your work on their walls. And that's like
Yeah,
that's
there's
how art has always worked is, oh, hey, there's a thing. I'm going to go look at that thing. Look, the place where the thing is sells coffee. I can buy coffee. That's fine. Show Your Art PNW has a lot of calls out too for people that are in the whole Pacific Northwest. And I like that Instagram account. I haven't worked with them a whole lot, but it seems like a nice sort of it's a good project, and they're fundraising for this year's guide, so definitely shout out to them.
yeah, yeah. Currently fundraising for this year's guide. There's a lot of different organizations in it. I was in it for a time when I was still in Pioneer Square, but there's just so many opportunities that are just in this book. So this is my plug for everyone. Follow Show Your Art Pacific Northwest
Yeah.
because there's a lot of opportunities there.
Also Artist Trust
But also, you're
is
not.
great.
Yes, yeah. Artist Trust, Gates Open, Washington.
Hmm.
They're also a great opportunity as well, just for open calls and grants to fund your art.
Yeah.
But I had a question about curating. How do you go about formulating your story and how you're going to put it together?
That's a great question.
Sorry.
No, that's a really wonderful question. So the stories are it's not my story, it's the story of the artwork. And I look for a thread that if I have a bunch of pieces laid out, I look for the thread that goes between them to see like what is there. There's a project I'm putting together right now with myself and two other artists that they're friends of mine, Lisa Myers Bolmash, shout out, and Amanda Danford, shout out. Both really, really wonderful artists, great people that I've worked with and been friends with for a while. And there's a common thread amongst all of our work of tenderness and addressing the subjects that we want to depict in a way that that preserves the fragility of it and sort of and pays special attention to the medicine of needing other people, for lack of a better way to put that. So when I'm putting work together to show, there's going to be like aspects of formal elements, so like color and shape and line and style and medium, that all where there's commonalities in all of those, when different works are going to talk to each other differently. So you put them next to each other and you go, what is this saying? Like, is this line here being continued by this other completely different piece by a completely different artist? Or do these colors harmonize together? Or is it a similar style or a similar subject? Like, you look for the you want to see the differences, and you want to see the similarities, and you want to have each of those each the similarities and the differences to be able to be in close enough proximity that they highlight each other. So the way that it is different also highlights the way that it's the same, and vice versa.
Okay, I love it. And I want to circle back and ask, you said that the work that you all were working on highlights fragility. Is it the fragility in like the materials being used, or sorry, I know it's a tangent, but I
Uh,
kind of want to ask a little bit more.
that's it's sometimes it's the materials, sometimes it's subject matter, sometimes it's taking concepts that are themselves just that need to be held with gentle hands.
Nice, nice. Okay, sorry, I love it. But as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, okay, there's just so many different things from relationships to materials, and I
Yeah.
just had to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we'll be able to put it up somewhere in the next year or so and be able to see it.
Yes, absolutely. No, keep me posted.
Hmm.
And wait, hold on. That's stuff I don't want to put on the Instagram, but on the podcast. But I will DM you, and hopefully you can find a place for it. But I want to ask, as a curator telling stories, how do you bridge that gap? Because you're also politically active.
Hmm.
How do you bridge that gap and tell the story that needs to be told to the community? Or how do you incorporate that into your art practice?
Hmm. I think it probably starts with a lot of yelling. I'm a yelly person. That's not true. As I've gotten older, I've gotten to the point of please don't make me yell. In so the
Not to detract, but I was going to say Bob Ross, I found out, was an air drill sergeant, really tough. After he retired, he made a vow to never yell again.
yeah,
And now we have the Bob Ross we all know.
that sounds right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot what the question was.
it was, how do you go about bridging the gap between bringing political activism to your artwork? And you're talking about your process that you go through.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I think like probably baseline is all art is political, just full stop, because our lives are what they are, and art is an extension of that. Because I work kind of in abstraction, the way that I put the way that I sort of fix the lens of the work that I'm doing is political because it comes through me, because it comes through my personal experiences. But I also, the foundations of my practice are sort of like, it's rooted in my nativeness, like my connection to my culture and my family all sort of like comes through this. That's where the work starts. Like I work in watercolor predominantly because
Yeah,
for a lot of reasons, but one of those reasons is because I got really inspired by the water protectors at Standing Rock in, what was that, 2015? Somebody's gonna check the date on that. The like the
it's okay. What I'll do is I'll put a link in the note so people can educate. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
the water protectors at Standing Rock were very, like, really inspired me to get into watercolor because of the way that water does what it wants. And I think that's like a big problem for people who like, when you go from working in something like oil that does what you want to working in watercolor that does what it wants. Like, you have to take a completely different approach that is not based in your desires as much as it is based in, look at this cool thing that this substance does, look at the way that the water affects this pigment, look at the way that adding water or taking water or like washes and different techniques have an effect on the pigment and the surface that you're working on, because you can do watercolor on more than just paper, in case anybody was worried.
yeah.
um
That's so true.
it's like it's a much more sort of naturalistic process, I think, compared to some other mediums that I've worked in, because I started, my degree is in photography, and like the camera does what you tell it to do, and like your results are going to depend on how well you tell the camera what to do, or how well you tell the darkroom what to do, like how well you direct the process. But watercolor painting is the complete opposite of that, because yes, you have to develop the ability to communicate with the medium, but the water is in charge. And that's very important to me as a Pisces, as a human, as an indigenous person. Like water does what it wants, and when you are able to sort of communicate with it well enough, ask the questions of yourself, of the medium, then you can get kind of like, you can see what results that you can get, and from there you can direct it better than if you were just like slapping it around, right? Like the way that some people do
Yeah.
with oil paints or other kinds of paint. And I think that's great, and I think they should do that. But you can't do watercolor that way.
Yeah, you have to live with the medium. It's not you projecting your will, but it's like, hey, I understand the medium enough. I have this respect for its rules, and it's living with it and creating with it versus
Right.
kind of dominating it and telling it
Right.
what
Yeah,
to do.
exactly.
Yeah,
And so
I love that.
that's a big place of where I start my work from. Is this is a collaboration between me and my materials, and just like my life is a collaboration between myself and my environment and the other people that I'm around. My relationships are collaborations with the people that I'm in relationship with. Like my family is a collaboration. My life is a collaboration. Being alive is not something that you can just do out of your own force of will. And that's a big component of where my work comes from.
Beautiful. I love it. And I think it kind of brings back to your approach to curation. It's a collaboration between the through lines and what's happening in the art and the story that's being told. That's amazing. Honestly, we're going to end the podcast there. That's it. That's but
Message
but
received. End of episode.
I was going to say, yeah. Well, I was going to say, because the question I was going to follow all of that up with was your advice to the art community. And I'm like, honestly, what we need now is collaboration.
Yeah.
We need to, rather than like, this is our will, this is me as an artist seeking to make something for myself. It's like, what can we do within our own systems to collaborate and work together to really create and flow from there, especially as we get involved with the activism of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. That's me projecting too much onto this. I want to ask, as a curator, as someone who is really active in the art community, what are some things that you're just seeing out there that you want to give advice to artists about, or whether they're established or upcoming?
I think
or just any words of advice.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, just if you think that something is beautiful, then represent it. If you think that something is terrible, represent it. Just like make as much art as you possibly can. Like, and then like after you've made every piece of art that you possibly can, then do more. Just do more. Just make art. Like, if it's good, if it's bad, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if it's good, it matters if it exists.
Ooh, yes.
There's an Andy Warhol quote that I'm not gonna remember accurately or like in its entirety, but it's basically like, make art, and while people are judging whether it's good or not, make more art. And that's where I've been in my practice for a long time. Is it doesn't need to be good. It doesn't need to be flashy. It doesn't need to be anything other than what it is. And eventually, when you've put out just like this huge volume of work for, huge compared to whatever your actual ability is, then like eventually you're going to make enough art that some of it is going to be really good and people are going to want to see more of it. And you'll develop an ability to see that sooner and lean more into the stuff that is really good. But you should still keep making bad art too, and protest signs.
I love it.
And zines.
Yes, and protest signs. Yeah, sorry, hold on. I don't want to go on a tangent, but zines, like, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to create that zine, because it is media that is not online necessarily, which means it can't be intercepted, it can't be used against you, and you can communicate information,
and it can't be
to
used
help others
to
without
train AI model.
Mm-hmm.
It's entirely independent, and nobody has a say over whether it gets made except for the person who's making it.
Absolutely. I am also really happy that zines are coming back, because I felt like they were a big thing in the early 2000s, and then they disappeared for a bit, and now they're back.
I don't think zines ever went anywhere. I think that people have been focused on other areas, because zines have always been like a super punk rock thing. People were making zines for as long as there have been people.
Well, that's good to hear then. Like, I know in my life it felt like they went away. I felt like, I'll be honest, when I'm putting together this timeline, it's like high school, making your like anime kind of magazine, comic book thing that you put out for your friends. And then life happened, and then now I'm an adult and I'm like, oh my gosh, people are like making these? At least, but also we're in Washington. I'm coming from California. Washington, I feel like they've stayed true, as you said, to that punk rock scene. So it might just be one of those
I
Washingtonian
would
things
say
too.
Washington
I
is
could be
very
wrong.
punk rock. I think that's part of what I love about
Yeah,
this area. Not that other places are not punk rock. It's not a competition.
yeah. Oh yeah, no, no. I'm not saying that to be like competitive at all. I'm just
Right.
saying in my life and what I've noticed since becoming a transplant here in Washington.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, speaking of punk rock, what song, and I like to end every podcast with this, like what song captures your artistic practice right now?
Um I thought about this a little bit today. There's a bunch. Sympathy Magic by Florence and the Machine uh
Okay.
is a big deal. There's a line in that song of I do not find worthiness in virtue. I no longer try to be good. And that one hits me real deep. Like, yeah, that's where I'm at. Also, there's a Hosier song. I don't actually know how to say his name. I only know the one song called Nobody's Soldier that is very much a good one for me. Also, Killing in the Name by Rage Against the Machine. It's like that's definitely an anthem
It's
of
funny
my
because it's like
life.
you're pulling artists from my playlist. I love this. Yeah.
Yeah. And let me think of one more that's kind of a little bit more of a softer, gentler vibe. I'm gonna look at my playlist real fast. One moment.
And while you do that, I was gonna say it doesn't have to be softer or gentler. I think it's as Tina Turner said, we don't do anything slow, we don't do anything nice. But yeah, I really hope I got the right artist for that. I don't want to get canceled on my own podcast. Let me
uh,
look this up.
maybe not slower or gentler. A Foster the People song called "Call It What You Want."
Nice. Okay.
That's I think that's definitely
Again,
a
these are all bands in my playlist. I love
nice.
it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, I want to say thank you so much for your time today, John. First of all, it's been great getting to know you as an artist, being able to work together, and then also having you on as a guest. I cannot wait to see this art collab that you're working on, but then also just what's to come in 2026. And I want to thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, thanks.
And for everyone who's listening, thank you all so much. Stay tuned for what's to come in the future, and I will see you all next time. Bye.